For joining us. We will be, sorry, I have to share my screen. Okay, share screen. Okay, we are discussing Yasna 32.1 today. This one's different than all the other ones we've done in the past. And we thank Mobadiyar Nushin Johangiri for recording this verse for us. And we're going to listen to her Avesta singing of the verse.
آت 32 بند 1 شناوت را او ره مزدا اخیا چا خواه توش یاست احیا برزن مت ایریم نا احیا دیوا محمی منوی اهورحیا اوروازما مزدا The boy do tong ho ong hama ping dara yo yo iba dai bi shanti.
Okay, and we will go to our translations. We have the Dr. Jafari's translation, O false gods, beware the family, the community, and the fellowship. All pray to the wise God for bliss in the manner I do. And they say, may we be your messengers to control those who are your antagonists. And then Khosrow Khazai's translation, O Mazda, O Ahura Mazda, to achieve a happy life, families and relatives and people pay you homage, and the deceitful wrongdoers, sooner or later, shall also take your path. May it be that way, O Ahura Mazda, in taking your message to ill-wishers, cause their animosity to cease towards your wayfarers. And then we have the Insha Irani, the followers of the council of untruthful in the community and the clan prayed for supreme bliss, even as we do. May we be thy messengers. May we repel the evil of thy lying opponents. And we'll go to the summary substance. Zarathustra warns the priests of old cult that their days are over. All from the family to the world of fellowship have become enlightened enough to join him in becoming missionaries of the divine message that will curb the exploiting activities of the professionalists and create a new world. And the pondering point is recognize priestly pranks, understand the message, radiate it to others, and cleanse the community. So I will start with that in my take on this. This Yasna 32 song 5 seems different, slightly different than the other verses, where he starts with the bad doers and the false gods and the priests who are having people do wrongful things. And he just goes back and forth when you read each verse in the song. In one, he's optimistic and saying positive things. And in the next, he's saying, false gods, beware. You know, you're making people do the bad things and the wrong things. But in the end, after 6 or 7 verses, he says, righteousness will prevail. It shows us that Zarathustra was an optimist. He was a visionary, and he did not display, at least in his writing, anger or revenge or anything to that effect. And he always portrayed the falsehood that as something that needs to be corrected, not as a permanent entity that cannot be changed, and it is what it is. That is my take on it, and I'm gonna turn that over to Mitra while I work on this.
Once again, everybody, thank you for showing up. It is a pleasure for us to have to see your faces and talk to you about this. As you know, this is a discussion. This is not a class. The two of us are not qualified to teach you anything. We're just here to open the dialogue so we can all talk about it. And because this religion believes in freedom of choice, equality, and the fact that human beings all have a good mind, we can all discuss it. None of us are unlimited by this religion that says, no, you have to go to somebody that is better than you. Zarathustra never said that he was preaching and he was better than anybody else that he was talking to. Because like in this verse, what catches my eye is the fact that he says, we are all messengers. He did not make it exclusive to him. We don't need to have a third party making a decision for us, telling us what to do. Is not a prescriptive religion. So that's the beauty of what he says. And he says all of this, once again, 4,000 years ago, when there was no internet, when there was no mass information, where there was not communities that could relate to each other, communicate. So it is kind of like beautiful to be hearing somebody talk about all of this 4,000 years ago. And my point of this, I picked this verse because of the fact that he says, we are all messengers. When in this universe, everybody's waiting for a Messiah. Everybody's waiting for the Savior to come and save the day. 8 out of 10 people on this universe believe in that this one person is going to come back from God knows where with superpowers and save us all. And they wait and they wait. And 4,000 years ago, Zarathustra said, there is no such a thing. You are the Savior. And this verse kind of like proves it, because he says, all of the people who are righteous, who are fighting evil with me, the bad thoughts, the bad words, and the bad deeds of others, we can all be messengers and we can radiate the message. That is our job. We need to take away from this verse, in my opinion, the fact that we need to radiate the message. We don't have to tell people, I'm Zoroastrian and Zarathustra said such and such. I don't. But at work, with dealing with public in my everyday life, at least once, twice a week, I tell somebody, you got to do this. You have to think this way because it's the right thing to do. And I think the whole message translates into the fact that do the right thing. Everybody knows what that is. At any level, I've seen people who do the wrong thing, my friends, my neighbors, my coworkers, myself, but we know what's the right thing to do. We choose not to do it. And once we know that, then we become a messenger. We have to relate the fact that, you're capable of doing this and letting others know they should do this. That is the core message, to do the right thing. Nothing fancy, nothing sophisticated. At any human level, we can do it. We can learn and radiate it. Yesterday, it was very interesting that, in our chat group, in our fellowship chat group, we talked about AI. And I think it was fascinating. This is a new conversation that everybody should be making. And there was a lot of good comments. Most people know what AI is. Most people don't know how bad it could be. Most people don't know should we or should we not use it. And this is the message, do the right thing. Because when I learned how AI is using natural resources, I've been telling people not to use, not to go and ask AI to write them a letter to the board of directors, because it will be more effective, because it will be more correct grammatically. And this is spreading the message, because I think it's the right thing to do. One of my best friends was having difficulty with the insurance company, And she was making a claim. They told her to write an email. And for that, she says, I want to use ChatGPT. And I'm like, why? And she goes, I want it to be perfect. Like, like it should sound like a lawyer wrote it. And just doing that, the amount of energy used that is not needed is not the right thing to do. She could have done it herself. Before all this AI was all over, everybody was doing their own thing. And now we're like, no, it's faster, it's better, it's more efficient, but at what cost? Most people don't know what is the cost. Right now, it is not a good time for me to have AI write the letter that I can do myself. And that is part of this message. I am a messenger. Everybody can be a messenger with the good information that they have, with the right thing that they have learned. Just pass it on. And that's, to me, that's living a Zoroastrian life, as simple as it is, one day at a time. It's not a big thing to claim that you know the Gathas, you know what Zarathustra was talking about. We all get it. If you get it, then practice it, then talk about it, then share the information. And I think this verse just, tells it, that he thought that human beings all can be good messengers against not just evil, but wrong. There are many things that are wrong that are not evil. There are many things that can be corrected that is simple, and each one of us are responsible and accountable to do it. So we are just like Zarathustra. He was not a superhuman. He was super intelligent. He was a visionary, but he was a human, just like every single one of us. And we should follow that path. So that's my opinion. And I hope that you all agree, or you can add to it, or you can change my mind. I'm here to listen to every single one of you. So please do bring in your opinion and let me know how I can expand my opinion about it. With all that said, anybody would like to, first of all, hi, Cody. We didn't say hi to Manisha and Cody. We're glad you
And
guys are here.
Felix.
And who?
Felix.
Oh, Felix, hi. Hope you're all doing okay. Glad to see you all. So who would like to go first? Okay, then. No volunteers. I'll pick Felix. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. That's interesting. So I use AI a lot, but I don't know if I want to divert us towards that debate. I really have to learn more about the energetic cost. My girlfriend is very conscious about the environment too, and she's been pushing me not to use it, but I use it. I use it a lot in my work. But it makes me think. I want to learn more. Not that you say that. Yeah, I just landed, and I think I need more time to read through it and really be able to say something. Can I ask gently to speak a little later?
Sure, absolutely. This is freedom of choice, freedom of speech, all that on your own good time. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Aryan, our newcomer. Hi, we would love to hear your opinion about this verse and what you take out of it.
Yeah, of course. Just one favor. Could you please flick to page 4? I just want to confirm my understanding of something.
Which page you want? Oh, page, okay.
Yes.
Do you see it?
Yes. Oh, perfect. So, my take of it is that everyone eventually will become good, or in this case, follower of Mazda, which is like all good and creator of good. And even the ones that don't follow him right now, even false gods, or yeah, eventually it's alluding to the eventual triumph of good over evil, which is like Brasho Kireti in the later text. And yeah, like how the good mind will eventually make everyone good and wise. That's my take of it.
Well, we hope so. We hope so. I just want to interject there. And you talked about Ahura Mazda, the creator of all good and all that. So in my opinion, from what I have seen and learned and talked about, in my opinion, creation is neutral. It's neither bad or good. We are the ones who make it. It's our opinion, it's our actions that makes, you know, it to be good or bad. Unfortunately, if it's not to our benefit, we call it bad. If it's benefiting us, we call it good. And I don't see creation like that. I don't see this whole galaxy, this whole, you know, the stars and the moons and our earth and everything that is existing on it as, you know, we can't tell that this is good or bad, in my opinion. Good and bad are our actions and our thoughts, and not part of this creation. Creation is neutral and is working perfectly. It's in a line with Asha. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I just wanted to add a little bit of that opinion to it. So thank you for your input. I would like Yossi June. We're talking about, again, AI, not that it matters right now for this discussion, but please have your opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. I took some notes while you were talking, and you said that do the right thing is what we practice as a Zoroastrian, and we can tell people what the right thing is because everybody knows what right is. And advice, for instance, that IA is too costly environmentally. And I see it a little bit different. I join you completely on the neutrality of creation. That's also what I've learned and what I've heard from my, from my early education in a Zoroastrian family, that it is my thought, my word, my action, that I have the choice between a good and a bad version of myself, and that it's this choice that makes, and I have to, sorry, my English is, can be, I mean, I need just some practice. So that the choice is, what is the right thing for me? My mom told me that, in fact, I need to gain knowledge and to be able to debate in myself, to search for what is the best thing to do. And there is nowhere is it written what is the good thing to do. And the only arbitrary is my own conscience. So if this verse is about to know what is the good thing and to become a messenger, I would maybe see it more as the messenger of the method of how to reach and follow the path. That means that the messenger is that I am a co-creator of the creation. And as this, by my action, my thought, my word, my action, I can enhance the good in myself and around me, or the evil part of myself and the bad part around me. And about IA, what I could do is just to give my understanding of how it works. But I would resist maybe the idea to say you should do this. I can share my experience and my ideas, but maybe I would refrain myself to suggest what to do and give the information and let people, choose by themselves. It doesn't mean that I don't have my opinion, but do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely. That is just what Zarathustra said. To every man and woman, listen with your mind and then choose for yourself. Because at end of the day, the choosing is a self thing. Nobody can make you choose. If you think about it in reality, yeah, you can suggest, you can offer, but that's it. You cannot, it's not a prescriptive thing that you say, it's not like a prescription. You have to take something 3 times a day with food. You don't do that. It's not a prescriptive religion. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, but a message is to be informed and to be knowledgeable And then
Yes.
we just pass it on, and people can do whatever they want to do with it. But the point is, you have to be active in doing that. You can't just sit idle and let things happen. It is our job to become knowledgeable, to become informed, and to pass it on to others. If they can use it, they can not use it. So thank you for that input. I really appreciate it. Lily, hi, Lily John. Thank you for raising your hand. We can't hear you.
You're muted.
There you go. No, you're still muted.
Maybe manager can go until Lily can
Yeah.
unmute.
Manager John, where are you? Good morning.
You're also mute.
We would like to hear everybody's voice. I don't know why it's not working out. Who is unmute? It looks like everybody's mute.
Hello.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
Manager John, go.
Yes, I don't know what is the problem with iPad today. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And Mitra Jun and Fariba Jun, thank you so much for bringing actually great Yasna for today's discussion, especially what we're facing in today's world. And what is fascinating to me is what Zarathustra was facing 4,000 years ago still exists. And I think it's part of the human nature. We can't blame on everything. My brother blames social media. I told him when Iran revolution happened, there was no social media. It was just BBC radio that our parents were listening to. So I really think it's just unfortunately human nature. And that's why so many, especially in Western world, they think that Zarathustra is dualistic, and dualistic idea, it really is not. It's just the human nature. And unfortunately, we have quite a lot of people who are greedy, and the greed is bringing quite a lot of manipulation and aggressiveness. So for me, the beauty of Zarathustra is even Ahura Mazda, wise God. So it's all about wisdom. We just need to educate ourselves to be a wiser person. And I believe if we're a wiser person to make the wise choices, the all the wisdom is going to bring it back to the society for us to not allow greedy, narcissist, anything we want to call it, to get into the power and create the environment that we were facing 4,000 years ago. And it is really saddening to me to hear that humanity is still stayed the same. It's just because the nature of the people never changed. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Your 2 cents was worth a lot more than 2 cents. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Lily figured out the volume. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Again, about AI, I use it a lot because I'm writing and doing a lot of research, and also I use it for my patients. Before I used to provide the content, but now I use AI because it takes less time. And as you said, I learned a lot when you said on the chat, when you said, we have to educate ourselves, and actually you educated us. I didn't know that it uses a lot of water and power to create that. And in fact, there are something that we can do it ourselves. So might as well not use it just as Google, for everything. And as I said before, especially now for a couple of years, I'm working on a book that it is a good thought, how to create inner peace based on a good thought, good words and good deed. And actually, I was going to call you later because I read all these Zoroastrian books and combined it with other approaches in psychology. Is how I'm wondering where exactly it's maybe not this session, maybe another one. How, where in Yasnas or in Gathas, it says how we can apply, how we can create this good thought, good words, and good deed. I can ask you later, maybe. But as far as AI, being educated and knowing that and using it meaningfully.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and I want to just correct myself. I don't think AI is bad. I honestly think it is so powerful and it can be so beneficial for humanity if used correctly. The problem is it's so new that the companies haven't figured out how to make it more efficient. Sanaz is one of our members on the chat group. She's the one who's working with UN, and I have mentioned that she was on our chat one time. She's the one who brought it up, and she said that there are groups of people that are working with UN as project managers, and they go to companies like Google and Microsoft and so many others that are having AI towers here and there. And they are kind of like, controlling them and watching them and letting them know, they're finding them if they're producing too much carbon dioxide in the environment, if they're using too much water. They just have to become efficient. And hopefully one day that will happen. And what I was saying on the chat is, until that happens, lay people like us, we are not astrophysicists, none of us, we don't need to do anything that we were doing 2 years ago without the use of AI. So let's just wait and give it a chance to become more efficient, less toxic for the environment, and then all is good. But the inventor of AI, creator of mankind, that's the creation of mankind. So it could be used very positively on this universe. And I'm looking forward to that. But right now, it's not. And we all know that. Just try calling a pharmacy to speak to a person. You cannot. AI will block you. It will try to answer you. It makes you frustrated. It's a lot of drawbacks for it right now. And we all know it. But thank you for that input. And we'll talk about your question about the part of the Gathas that talk about that. So thank you. Mahrufjan, your hand is up. We would be happy to hear you.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. To me, Zarathustra's message is timeless. As someone mentioned, that even though he was alive 3,000 years ago, his message resonates till today, and we can all learn from it. And we talked about doing the right thing. How do you know you're doing the right thing? What is it that guides you to do the right thing? I truly believe the wisdom and the knowledge exists in the universe. When Zarathustra was looking at his own life, how it was stressful, strife, there was so much poverty, there were so many wars, people were not treating each other well. He was asking our Master, how can he make it better? When he looked up to the heavens and he saw the beautiful synchronization of the stars, the moon, the planets, the perfection that existed out there, how do I bring it to my world, for my people, for myself? And that is the enlightenment that Zarathustra got. To be in sync, it's just having a good thought, saying a good word, and doing good actions is not enough. It's more. That message is much more than what we are looking at. I wish everyone was a Zoroastrian today. The world would be a better place, is how I truly believe in my heart of hearts. And so, to me, the knowledge that you acquire through your experience gives you wisdom.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that is what I believe. And the knowledge is there, the ultimate knowledge. To me, that's Mazda.
You know, when you said, I wish everybody was Zoroastrian and it will be a good world, that is correct. Because part of the teaching is, I always have said to my class of children, that a cat is a cat is a cat from the time it's born until it dies. However, a human being is a nothing, it's like a blank slate, and we have to learn. We have to learn everything. We have to learn to be human. And part of that learning is to become knowledgeable and to have this zest to be responsible and accountable. Those are all things that we have to learn. It's a teaching experience. We need to tell parents to teach their children from the time that they were born to be good, to do good, to be responsible. Yes, knowledge has to be acquired. We do not come in to this world with anything. And we have the potential to be a good person and to do the right thing. It is a learning experience, one day at a time for all of us. And a lot of us will learn a lot, will become wise, but not enough. But it doesn't matter. Humanity has learned more than 1,000,000 years ago. So it is a graph that is going up. And the point that Zarathustra was trying to make for people to listen, to learn, to acquire knowledge, to become wise, is that it's doable. So if everybody knew the principles of this religion, the fact that we are responsible, that is our job as a mankind, it will be a better world. But a lot of people, a lot of religions teach you that you don't have to do anything. As long as you believe, you're good. And you see how good this universe is, because everybody's waiting for a savior. Everybody's waiting for God to, bless them or forgive them or teach them. And that is not working out. We see that. So be a messenger and tell people they can be the best they can be if they want to. It's the desire. It is a task. It is our job. It's our duty as mankind. So hopefully one day, I don't know when, that can happen, but we can each be that 1% and talk to one other person for them to be enlightened, for them to be liberated from all the guilt that is out there, to do good, to try to learn what is good for that person, for that time, for that moment. We can all do it. So thank you, Maharojan. I really appreciate it. Whose hand is up?
Felix.
Felix? There we go. Felix, phase 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like what you just said, and I have I have a bunch of things to say. I'm trying to think about how to organize them, so I apologize in advance if it's not super clear.
That's okay.
But so for the Yasna, for me, it's really about the strength and the power of good intentions, because so he starts with making sort of he says like beware false gods. So it's asking false gods to take precaution because in a way good intentions are dangerous for them, right? So it's to me there's also like an interesting contradiction similar to the Yasna about relationships, where you say you have to lead each other in righteousness, which that's a contradiction in itself. Here also he starts by saying you have to beware because good intentions are dangerous, and then he concludes by saying that the good intentions will control or so what I like about the Yasna is that there's this idea that good actions are like messages, right? And that they in that way they're kind of like contagious, and they will inspire others, and they carry meaning and significance beyond just the direct consequences of the actions. They also inspire other people, and then people want to emulate them. And so to me it's really about the strength of the good intention, and the idea that when you have good minds, and not just good minds, so in the family, the community, and so on, that power amplifies and becomes even stronger, so much so that those who oppose to good thoughts should be worried, and that ultimately it can control them. And that's where I think it's really interesting in relation to what you just said and what you said before about the idea that you cannot force people to choose, right? And what you just said about the idea that humanity, if you look at the history of our species, it's a history of learning and growing, and we're way different from where we started, And the same way throughout life or throughout relationships, you start somewhere and you end up somewhere completely different. And so there's something about human nature that is inherently dynamic, flexible, in evolution. And it got me thinking about how harmful some views of human beings that we, I think, all adopt from one time or another, especially in relationships when you fight, where we call other people out by name, saying, "Oh, you're always so this," or "you're always so that," and we start ascribing to other people labels that are very, very destructive and forbid for any kind of. So that's how I view this idea that in my reading of the Yasna, the antagonists are people who have like a rigid mind, that have some idea that things are fixed and they're not going to change. And this is also, in my opinion, where prescription comes from. It's like, oh, it's always been like this, so this is how it has to be. Or people who do the things you do, they always do these things and they don't change. And I think that's really sort of the enemy. And things that are sort of rigid in nature, they tend to break. Whereas things that are flexible, they take many shapes and so on. So that's how I view the last sentence, where ultimately the things that are more flexible and open to learning and adaptation, they ultimately end up controlling the things that cannot change, because the world is in a perpetual state of flux and evolving and changing. So this is kind of what it makes me think about. And it also makes me think about personal things about I've been talking recently with my partner about what is right for within the environment, within our environment, the family we want to create. And seeing some people who for example are very friendly to me, but maybe sort of not that interested in meeting my partner, and my partner feels really disrespected from that. And we've had a lot of arguments over that. And ultimately, I think it comes down to the question of, if somebody wants to be my friend, then they should also accept my partner, because, they're an important part of my life. And, it's so in that sense, I think, that's how I interpret the part about family, community, and fellowships, and the idea that good mind, and good intentions are stronger than the bad intentions when they're made consciously. And it's very important to give them as much attention and echo as possible. So if you feel that something is right, or if it's important to devote attention and energy to it. Because ultimately it will bring the best consequences. I'm sorry, this was kind of a mess. I hope you got some stuff from this.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. You brought up really good points, and I love the fact that you said flexibility. Yeah, and I think Zarathustra was flexible with his thoughts, with the way that he did the gathas, because if there is no do's or don'ts, because do's and don'ts change by time, by geography, by population. And he was smart enough not to do that. He made everything general. And then it's up to us, because we have the capability to make that decision. We don't make it always correctly, but we have the capability to do the right thing. So thank you for that. And go to William.
Just one thing, so to open up maybe the conversation and in later questions, one thing I think it's an interesting question here is, what does he mean by false gods? So, I think we all know he refers to like Mithraism and, priesthood, before
All of that before Zarathustra. That is correct.
And it's interesting to think about what does it mean today, right? Like this idea of false gods, because Mithraism, I don't think is, it's no longer a concern, like, because he was fighting at the time against like animal sacrifice and this sort of things.
So I don't think Mithraism existed 4,000 years ago.
So my understanding was that
later, but
Zoroastrian was like no, I'm talking about the one before Zoroastrian, not the one from Rome. But my understanding was that Zoroastrianism was sort of a reform from a priesthood class that existed before, that did a lot of sacrifice and
right. That's true.
And that's kind of who he's addressing there, right? It's interesting to ask, okay, who are these people today? Like, what does it mean today?
True.
Thank you for that. William, we're welcoming you for
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess what stood out to me was the emphasis on family and community. It's important to keep in mind that we're not only individuals, but we're families and communities as well. And just to piggyback off Felix's point about the multiplying power of that prayer. So yeah, I thought that stood out to me, just the emphasis, because sometimes in religion, it's about, how does God relate to me personally, and it's very individualistic. But just keep in mind that there's also communal aspects to religion.
Mhm. That is very true. Yeah, we are not living here all by ourselves. We are not, none of us are isolated. We have to keep in mind that it's our community, our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, everybody that we come in contact with. So that's a very good point. And he realized that, and it's power is always in the numbers. And the more friendship, the more community, it works better. So thank you for your insight. We have a lot of people who are left. Please raise your hand. We only have an hour. We have like 15, 20 minutes left. I would love to hear anybody who has something to say. If you don't, then I pick again because we have 15 minutes that I can pick. But if anybody would like to volunteer for their opinion and their input, we would gladly name them. Otherwise, Eric, would you like to chime in?
Yes, obviously, I'd like to. So I don't really know where to start because so many topics have been mentioned so far. The whole AI thing and the world, being a better place if it was Zoroastrian. I 100% agree with you. We don't really have to look far. Just let's take a look at parts of the Middle East, because it used to be mostly Zoroastrian and it was conquered by another religion. And we all know what happened next and what's going on with most of people's lives. I don't really want to get too much in this topic, but you all know what I'm talking about, I suppose. When you were talking at the beginning about the translations here, I was actually doing some notes and sort of paraphrasing what you were saying. So yes, I also think we are, or we can be messengers. We all can be. We just have to carry the, message of righteousness and, waiting for thousands of years for some, omnipresent and almighty God to save us, and just being so pious and praying to him and asking for forgiveness doesn't really do any good, because how can we expect anyone to save us if we don't act on our own, if we don't try to reshape the world to be a better place? Because I also believe that creations are neutral. The whole physical world, water, fire, trees, animals, they all have their own purpose, but they don't really act to harm anyone. The human beings can, and it happens within certain religions with no religious ideologies, like, communism, for example. I believe it's like the best manifestation of Angra Mainyu in the world. It has ruined many places in the world, including my country, my home country of Poland, because, Poland was basically a sort of, from the intellectual, point of view, annihilated by communism, because communists installed its government here after the Second World War, and many people, intellectuals, were executed. Many things were lost forever. And you can actually see signs of that wherever you go in Poland, and there are still other countries in the world that suffered even worse fate from communism. And we can correct the world. It's difficult, to do, because as one person, it also depends on how much power we have in our hands, but as one regular person, we cannot do a lot. There's no point to fight the windmills like Don Quixote did, but we can try to influence our community, our friends, our family, people that we just hang around with, our colleagues, and I believe we all can be messengers. We all can share the message and correct the mistakes, just, you know, a little bit of contribution. It's, you know, it's like a donation. Everyone donates a bit, and then there's enough money to, you know, commit to the purpose. And with, you know, just carrying the message of righteousness, of goodness, it's exactly the same thing. So I believe that doing a little, but doing that with good intention, we can change the world.
Yeah, I appreciate your saying, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And the fact that we can be one messenger at a time, we are like 1,500 years behind. Nobody has spread Zarathustra's message. Nobody, I mean, it has nothing to do with the actual person. I don't think he would ever want to get the credit for it. I don't necessarily want to tell anybody that Zarathustra came up with this idea, and I agree with him. But the point is that this message has not been around for 1,500 years. And right now we have started. And it's a, you know, internet is the best place for it. Still, there's a lot of misconception, but it has started. So one person at a time, hopefully more people, you know, all of you are new to this religion, every single one of you. And just a few of us were born into it. And we are the first generation that is spreading it. We are actually being messengers. We are just telling people, you don't have to be in bondage. You don't have to act like sinners. You don't have to wait for a savior. These are just small messages, but we can portray it. The power comes when other people hear it, they like it, they spread it. So we are at the beginning of this endeavor, and we are happy that you're all here with us. Hopefully one day there will be thousands of us, and you know, from then they can spread it. We just have to have hope, because we have started this way. The path has started. And with you guys all being knowledgeable, all looking into this, researching it, learning it, spreading it, it is a good endeavor. So I am happy to be here. I am sure you guys are happy too. Let's pick just one person. Hopefully we get to two other people. Arashjan, if you want to go, I'm so sorry, we are at the end of our thing. So please say what you have to say. We would be happy to hear it.
So, and during Zarathustra's time, there was two different Iranian groups. They came from somewhere in the north, which was frozen. Certain group went all the way south to Iran, which is certain group went to India, and certain groups of Iranians remained in Central Asia and invaded Europe countless times and invaded the south. So possible that Zarathustra and his group became sedentary. So they had cattle, they had agriculture, but other Iranians remained in the frozen tundra of the Central Asian steppe. And so they were more hardy, they were more prone to fighting other tribes. And they say those nomads, Iranian nomads, were the best in archery. So a huge amount of them had red hair. And so in the Central Asian nomads in that area, there's not much water. They had to hunt. They used the bow and arrow on horseback. And so these Iranians who were in the north compared to the Iranians in the south had friction, because the ones in the south were already settled, you know. They had plentiful food, wheat, agriculture. So sometimes the ones in the north would raid the ones in the south. So I could see that Zarathustra they had issues of someone raiding, stealing cattle or agriculture and moving to the north. So the Aryans or Iranians of the north had their gods. They were more warlike gods because they came from very difficult areas. If they had gods, very peaceful gods, then honestly, they would not have survived in such a harsh area. So morality is relativistic to the society that you're born in. So if I was born in a nomadic society, I would have to fight. I would have to survive. If I was born in Zarathustra's society, well, you can form homes and have agriculture, and people are more peaceful in terms of sharing their grains and the milk and something like that. But in the north, I might have to fight for what I need. So, but as we're moving forward into this new world, this new age, you could see that humans are all depending upon each other. Different cultures and peoples are interdependent. So the time of raiding and killing for survival is gone. We have so much abundance. We have agricultural techniques, farming techniques. We have AI. We have so many things that makes our societies abundant and wealthy all over the world. So there is no excuse for this kind of like stealing from one another and fighting, you know. But it happens still even today. A good example is in the Middle East when Hamas attacked Israel, then Israel attacked Hamas. So many innocent people died, correct? So in the United Nations, so many countries and the UN General Assembly are voting for a Palestinian state. They're like, why not? Why not have a country next to Israel that could have people living side by side in peace? They deserve a country too. And in the same way, they also, said that, they chastised Hamas and they chastised the Israeli leadership for killing so many people. So Zarathustra's message of this morality, of progress, of evolution, of having humans move past a petty form of singularity where people are all just thinking about themselves, this selfishness. Zarathustra's like, think about the community, think about the interconnectedness of mankind, move up. It's not about yourself. It's not about stealing or killing. It's not about lying anymore. It's about trusting one another. It's about community, friendship, family. It's about moving past this. And the United Nations is symbol of this, a family of nations, And I wish the United Nations had a standing army or military so they could actually move into these countries that are fighting with each other and put it to a stop, And then that's my say on things. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arash, for pointing out at the end what you said, that Zarathustra was like, yeah, get over your petty things. It's about the community. And that's where, if you all are familiar with the term Ushta, the radiant happiness, please remember, Ushta means happiness that comes to you after you have done something for others, for the environment, for a cause, for somebody else out there. And that is the purpose of this life, to achieve Ushta, the radiant happiness that is uplifting. And it's only when it's selfless, it's not about you, it's about others. And that's what you're talking about. That is the goal. And 4,000 years ago, that was the goal. It applies to today. Yes, we are living in a global environment. It is not about me. It is not about me in America, in California, in Irvine. It's not. It's about this whole universe, because once one part of the universe is suffering, it trickles down. And if one of us starts being selfless and teaches that to our children, to our neighbors, to our friends, to the chat group, we just project all that and we learn and we can practice it, it will be a better world one day. If we've been around for millions of years, hopefully we last, if AI allows that, we are going to last more millions of years. And one day, if that's the intention of human beings, to be better, to progress, to renew this existence, it will be. But it has to start with one action from one person every day, every minute. And hopefully that is all of us. With all that said, I really appreciate you guys being on this chat today. I enjoyed it. Hopefully we all learned something. I did. And if Payam John, you've been having your hands up, I would really appreciate it if you can wrap it up with your wise words in the next 2-3 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got on late.
Sure.
I'm actually getting my license renewed for real estate, so I got on 30 minutes late. But I guess, yeah, I'll make it quick. Just wanted to piggyback what everyone was saying about how morality changes over time, and I think that it's somewhat of a blessing that it's our teachings are so open to interpretation, because one thing people like to do is they like to clarify, and therefore that would cause confusion and a lot of problems in regards to did he mean this or did he mean that? And that's one of the problems we see with modern religion today. And I won't go much into detail because everyone else has done that. But the other thing I wanted to say was that it is astonishing. Just society prefers simplicity over, I guess you could say, intellectual honesty. That what secular humanists discuss today has been something that Zoroastrians and Zarathustra himself has been discussing or preaching for thousands of years, but just now we're starting to understand it. And I was thinking about it over the week and how we humanity prefers simple things, simplicity over, just over time. Not today because we're working on it now, but when it comes to philosophy and morality, the things that we are talking about today is what Zarathustra taught thousands of years ago, and we are just now making that mainstream. So it's just it makes me laugh sometimes that we chose this supernatural deity of the Abrahamic religions over, Zoroastrianism, and how philosophical it was for its time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you said the key word, simple. Simple and direct and factual. You can't, that's why it's universal. That's why it is everlasting, because of those three properties: simple, direct, and factual. And thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for mentioning it. I really appreciate it. Yes, John, you wanted 1 minute, we would appreciate it. Oh, go ahead. I can't hear you.
Very, very quickly. I heard just now, how can we, society prefers, what is easier, etc. Just to let, neurosciences now enlighten us about the fact that the brain that we all share needs to make an economy of energy. And what it does is that it goes to the quickest, simplest, easiest known way to do. And we're all driven by our brain. And so I think that what you just said is a reflection of the brain that we all share. And society goes for the quickest, simpler, immediate award, etc. So this knowledge helps, for me at least, to get rid of this contradiction. How is it that we still are facing these problems if I can learn that we share the same brain and the brain functions that way? It makes it much simpler for me to then accept and to see what I can do. That's what I just wanted to add.
Thank you so much for everybody's brain power. There was a lot of it today. And if we all have it, people have it out there. Let's be a messenger and tell them to use it. We all have the good mind. We need to use it. So thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. For those of you who didn't get a chance to express your opinion, there are other times. We'll meet you in a month. Be prepared. We would just be loving having you here with us on that Saturday or Sunday. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.